Hi, welcome to our video blog of Game of Thrones Season 6, Episode 9.
Yep.
I'm Scott.
And I'm Sam.
And we are talking about Season 6, Episode 9, Battle of the Bastards. Wow. Okay.
I know, wow.
First off, if, okay, I'll give you the unspoiler version of the episode. It's awesome. It's the most amazing episode of Game of Thrones ever.
Yes!
And, I mean, like, the best individual episode of the entire series. So if you have not gone and seen this episode, stop the video, like our video, subscribe, and watch the episode, because it's amazing. But, that aside, that's the unspoiler version, so go watch. Now, spoiler versions, we're gonna go through everything about it. What did you think?
It was so heart-wrenching, and even now, I still have butterflies in my stomach. It was that intense. It just... Ugh.
It was. From front to back, this episode is like the most intense episode of Game of Thrones they've ever put together. It's not gory, not nudity, some language.
It was pretty gory.
Well, actually, yeah, I guess gory is off the chain, but no nudity, not too much language. But we start off in Meereen with Daenerys getting back and finding the place in shambles and basically talking down to Tyrion. What did you think of that?
Honestly, I was expecting her to be more mad at him, because, she left the place in his hands, pretty much, and he goes and makes a deal with the devil, pretty much, and I was really expecting her to kind of rip into him, and I don't know if that's coming at a later date.
No, I think that the conversation that they had was pretty much what they had, and I think that she's pretty much forgiven him, and that was what was kind of surprising, but in the same respect, it fits her character. She needs him on his side. She needs him to help, guide the army. She just wants to go, like, she started out the episode, like, almost felt like military-ish. Like, she almost felt like olive drab, like, put together, militant, like, we're gonna go out and we're just gonna crack skulls and stuff. And Tyrion's like, wait. Did you know that, when your dad failed, he had plans to burn the city to the ground? Followers and unfollowers, everyone was going down if he, failed.
So it's like history repeating itself, father like daughter.
Well, so, I mean, Tyrion was like, let's think about this for a moment. Even though I know that things are bad, but they're not that bad. They're not as bad as they look. We have the upper hand. And when they went out to talk to the masters, I was like... I knew that when they're like, we're going to talk surrender to the masters, it's like, it's not their surrender. It's the Master's surrender. They have dragons. I know that sounds silly, but it's the
fact that they actually asked, we're going to kill the two dragons that are below us. We're going to kill them. It's like,
yeah, no.
No.
The terms of the agreement were, we're going to take your Unsullied. We're going to resell them to the highest bidder. We're going to take your translator, who's like your best, Daenerys' best friend. We're going to take her and sell her to the highest bidder. And then we're going to slaughter your basically children beneath us to death. And you're going to walk away with nothing. And Daenerys is like, this isn't my surrender. This is your surrender. She jumps on the dragon like a badass. And she just like... flies up to the top of the castle, and I can see... I've actually talked to some of my friends about this. Like, they mentioned that Season 6 they thought they might want to do as a movie because the budget was going to be so high. The budget went to this episode, without doubt. Like, the dragon scenes were amazing. We'll talk about, like, some other scenes a little bit later, but she jumps on the dragon and flies out over the ocean to release the other two dragons from underneath the pits and bring them out to the... ocean.
It was epic. Like, full on. That's exactly, if dragons were real, that's exactly what I would imagine they would act like.
I love, like, the texture, like, that they had for the back of the dragon, like, that she's holding on to. It's not like How to Train Your Dragon, where it's, like, cartoony, and she's just grabbing onto kind of, like, big masses. No, like, you could see when it furled out, it's like, it's like spine, that the like skin in between was actually like kind of coming apart a bit. You know what I mean? It sort of had that like wear and tear of like really thin skin that's been, you know, used a lot. And like I really like that the animators went to that level. And when all 3 dragons flew out over the boats and then just started blasting them, it's like
them blowing the fire and burning the ships and the dudes on it. It was like, really cool looking.
It makes you think like dragons spit fire. You know what I mean? It's like the T-Rex from Jurassic Park where you saw a T-Rex for the first time and you're like, that's a T-Rex. That's a T-Rex attacking a truck and pushing off a cliff into a tree and stuff. That's a T-Rex. This was that moment for dragons. And I have to say, like, even though it's TV, it's well done TV. It's TV that they've pushed the CG to just as good a quality as any movie. And when those dragons hit those boats, it's like, damn, you can feel those flames. You can feel how hard they hit. They blast the boat in half.
Hard, yeah. Like it wasn't just lighting something on fire. It was full on blowing it, like hitting it hard with fire.
I just turned to Sam. I'm like, because it kind of like does a shot where it's from the other boats watching the boat sinking, and I'm like, how much would you be peeing your pants right now if you're on those other boats?
Oh no, I'd be crapping my pants, not peeing my pants.
And I mean. It's so great because it goes back right after that scene where the boat gets obliterated, sawed in half pretty much with fire, and sunken. It goes back to the Masters. All of their armies just run away like little pansies, like, oh, we can't do anything. And Tyrion does the best power play where he says, you know, Daenerys said that we are going to kill one of you. Which one is it? And
of course they turn on each other.
The 2 richer guys say, it's this guy. He's
lowborn.
Yeah, he's lowborn. He's not of high value.
He's not part of us. Blech.
And they throw him down at their feet, and
surprise.
The Unsullied comes over and slices both the 2.
And yeah, conveniently, the guy that they're trying to throw under the bus kneels down begging for mercy, and so it was perfect for the what's his name, Grey Worm?
Yeah, I think so.
He just whoop like it was nothing. It was like tear paper.
It was awesome, and I mean, like I could see that from a mile away. Like that sort of power play, I could definitely see was going to happen. But I love Tyrion walks over to him because he's bowing at his knees and he's right at the same height as Tyrion. He walks over and he's just like, you lived because Daenerys lets you live. Go tell everyone that Daenerys took your armies going to Westeros and that she's the queen, you know. The other thing we didn't talk about is the Dothrakis come around the corner and just murder the armies that are at the gates, trying to kill the
cavalry,
the armies of Meereen. And it's like, dang, she's got everything. I really want to see honestly, real quick prediction of the end of the next episode. I think it's going to be a lot about King's Landing, as they showed in the preview, but I think there's going to be heavy on the Daenerys' part, traveling to Westeros. I have a feeling that the last bit is going to be like her getting to Westeros. It looks like she's lost something, and so I think she may possibly lose one for dragons. That's just kind of based on what you see at the end of the episode.
Like something significant to her that she lost. So yeah, that would make sense. That it might be one of her dragons.
Yeah.
But
and I hope that's not the case because the dragons are awesome. But in the same regard, she's taking on the mainland. She's taking on Westeros, and
this is the big leagues here.
So that's going to be an interesting episode, and I'm excited.
I'm so excited. Yeah.
Let's hit the main battle.
Oh my gosh almighty.
Sam was honestly so Jon versus Ramsay battle was amazing.
I honestly thought I aged 5 years of my life. Just from a 60-minute time frame, I lost 5 years off my life.
I was like, calm down, just sit down and enjoy the episode. I can't calm down. I can't sit down. This is driving me nuts. That's how good the episode was. That's how good they planned it. They basically they had to a point where you obviously knew kind of what was going to happen. Basically, Jon comes in and says, our armies are going to stand back, let Ramsay, come in, and we are going to destroy him. And everyone at the council, says, yeah, that's a good idea, that's a good idea. They all leave, and then Sansa's like, Jon, you don't know Ramsay. And he's like, this is a military strategy. This is a military strategy. And she's like, no, it's not. Ramsay is going to...
Does not follow military standards at all.
Basically, she says exactly what he's going to do. He's going to murder our
brother. Which he did.
And you have to not react. And he says, you don't know what you're talking about, basically. And it's like, no, she does know what she's talking about, because that's exactly how Ramsay is. He takes everything that you would possibly...
And hurt you.
Like any sort of emotional tie that you have to something, he's going to take it and amplify
it against
and take advantage of it. And in this episode, to Ramsay's accord, he is a good commander.
Oh,
for the armies.
He played John like a Stradivarius.
He is a strategist all the way. Because starts out the episode, he lets their brother go. Says run to John.
But he had this smirk on his face, and it was so obvious that it's like, dude,
run to your brother John. And then he basically starts firing arrows at him, playing with him, messing with him, right until John gets up to him in the middle of the field and murders him in front of him.
Pretty much.
And then John's stuck in the middle of the field by himself because he didn't bring any of his armies. He's all on passion at this point. He didn't listen to Sansa, and which I'm glad she's grown so much in the episode. And just in this episode, I'm like, wow, Sansa's really coming to her own. And
I knew it. It just too much crap has happened to her that there was just she had to grow up, and sure as hell she did.
Yeah, and John's stuck in the middle of the field. Basically, they're stuck with sending their cavalry out to go defend John. And by the time it's such a good scene. The scene where John is standing there in front of the horses, and Ramsay lets his cavalry go straight at him, charging him. And John's like...
ready to take on all these guys on horses. And you're thinking, no!
He pulls his sword out, and he's standing there like, okay, this is it. I'm going to kill their whole army. And I'm like, John, you can't kill their whole army. That's not a strategy. And right as he's about to literally murder the first horseman, his army smacks him. And it is this boom, this hit, and you're just like, oh my god, thank God that they had the gall to send the army out at that time, because they hit right exactly when it got to John. And it was on. And some of the cinematography in it was amazing. I love the part where the horses slow down.
Yeah.
And you see their legs. And they're basically...
And the horses, kind of run into each other. And it's, super graphic.
Well, it wasn't even the part where they run into each other. It was the side shot of the horses. And you see their legs moving like a locomotive. They're just, clomping over each other, this row of horses. And it's just like, wow. That is... such a beautiful shot. This episode is full of just beautiful shots and beautiful scenes that have been set up so well, because right when they clash, John gets into the fight. You know what I mean? He's slashing and dashing, and he's in the thick of things, and Ramsay's just sitting back and saying, fire arrows.
It's like, loose!
Yeah.
Loose!
And it's like, he's commanding like a real commander, though. That's how commanders should be commanding their armies.
Who, Ramsay?
Yeah, I'm sorry, but they really shouldn't be in the thick of things like John, right down in the middle of the
do
trenches.
not give that man any props.
He commanded his army like an army commander should. But
like a lily-livered chicken, you know what.
But the thing is, this leads to one of the coolest shots. If you've seen... if you haven't seen episode 7 of Star Wars, go see that too. Yeah. But it's just like episode 7 of Star Wars, where they have Finn and the X-Wing is flying down and he's battling, stormtroopers, and the X-Wing, Poe is in the X-Wing shooting around, and it flies right over his head. He's like, "Damn, that's a cool pilot," He's
and then obviously it's like, "Oh, it's Poe, yeah!"
There's literally a scene just like that. Not with a TIE fighter would be awesome, but
that'd be a little weird.
Basically, it's just him in the trenches, back and forth. He first slices off a guy's head, turns around, arrows come in and he's guarding from the arrows, and then he jumps up, kills a horse, horseman, and flies off his horse, turns around, and it's just like this amazing battle.
it's like a perfect like combination of just awesome.
Yeah.
You know, like it was so choreographed so well. But
There is a but.
there's always a but. But then these morons allow themselves to get circled by Ramsay's men.
Well, and you can see that coming from a mile away. I can see that
no.
happening. I knew that was going to kind of be
They
about.
still
but
let them.
They should have. They like
They drove right through them. It's like, why are you letting them pass? Kill them.
basically they surround them. Also, real quick on the costume design, I really like the costumes for Ramsay's army. The helmets sort of remind me of like a Spanish conquistador.
Yeah, it's Spanish or French-esque.
Yeah, they were really cool, and I love the unique style to the helmets. It didn't seem very Game of Thronesy, but it was really
More
nice.
medieval.
And I'm sure
Yeah.
it kind of harkens back to some sort of their armies or something. I'm sure someone can mention in the comments, but I really thought that was a interesting tie to it. It really lets you know who was Ramsay and who wasn't Ramsay, because at one point they jump out from behind the pile of men, and I was like, "Is that John's?" And we could see the
No,
helmets.
but
and
we could see the helmets, and we
Yeah.
knew, no, you know.
No, it's Ramsay's. So it was a really good marker. I'm sure they added those specifically so you could kind of tell who was who.
But talk about the circling thing. That's where it gets truly intense.
They circle around. They take their shields out. And they put their swords out, or their spears out. And they basically move forward 1 foot at a time and stab everyone in there. And I'm kind of like, me and Sam were both like, the giant needs to just stomp all over them.
And swat them like flies! I didn't
Like-
understand why he wasn't just swatting out of them.
Well, I mean, it's harder. It's a harder situation than you think, because it's not just those spears, but after the spears even get broken, because he kind of stamps on some of the spears and kind of pushes back those guys. But then there's 3 other men behind them with swords.
True.
And so those guys are ready to, pounce on him as he comes down to like step on anything. So realistically, he's going to take just as much damage pushing into them. But I think breaking the spears would have been at least something that he could have done to help out the rest of the team.
So basically, back at the beginning when they had their war council, John said, "Oh no, we won't let them attack us from the side." When in fact, that's exactly what they're doing right now. Is they have them completely surrounded. Like I said, he got played big time.
He did. And Ramsay just stands there. And the final thing that happens is basically they end up trampling John. And that is another scene where I almost was holding my breath. I literally was almost to tears watching John get stomped into the ground by his own
And him
cavalry.
gasping for air.
And it's like,
ah!
Oh my god, this is how it's going to end. John is going to be stomped into the ground, and Ramsay will take Winterfell.
Pretty much.
But he finally pushes his way to the top, breaks out of the top, and the first thing he sees is all his men being kind of like trampled the same way, and they just all look at each other with desperation. And then all of a sudden they hear the horn.
Yes! Sorry.
and it's Sansa and Littlefinger bringing in the army.
Obviously, now we know who she was writing to in that previous episode. There at the very end, we're like, "Ooh, who's she writing to?"
And we knew that from the beginning, where he talks. Littlefinger talks to the king and says,
I know, but we didn't know. But it's obvious now.
So basically, they come in and just
trample Ramsay's men. That was also very epic.
And that was awesome. But I love that the first thing John does, gets up and looks for Ramsay. And he looks for Ramsay, and so does
and he has this sour look on his face, like, what?
So does the wildlings, and the giant and the wildling captain, and they're all looking at him, and it's like, let's go. And they just tear for Ramsay as he runs back into Winterfell. And they mention
that lily-livered piece of you-know-what.
Well, they mentioned at the end of the episode, they're like, well, we plan to have all the battle happen on the field. And it's like, really? That would be interesting to have Ramsay been taken care of out on the field. But no, they're like, well, this is a battle for Winterfell, so we want him to come back to Winterfell and have John take Winterfell from Ramsay.
Like, literally take it from him inside of Winterfell.
Ramsay
and
pretty much pulls
agree.
his bow and arrow out and starts shooting at John.
What
John
made
takes
him
the
think...
shield.
John was dodging arrows left and right. What made him think he was going to actually shoot him?
Oh my gosh.
Especially, he had a shield. It's like, you moron, you're done.
He gets right up to Ramsey and then just
beats the crap.
And it's like, oh my gosh, oh yes,
yes, yes.
You know, you're like,
we were totally chanting, yes, yes, yes.
But he stops.
Once he saw Sansa.
And he looks at Sansa. And at first I was like, finish him off for her, you know? But I could tell in his mind, this isn't my kill.
Yeah.
This isn't my... I'm fighting this guy for my castle. I have my castle. I have my... He doesn't have his brother back, but he has his brother's spirit.
And he has a
He's
he
able
has
to
the
bury his
prisoner.
brother
He has
now.
the prisoner.
And so he says, you know, I'm sure internally this is what I'm digesting from the scene. I'll let this be Sansa kill. I'll let Sansa deal with him in the dungeons. And they take him to the dungeons. The last scene of the show, Sansa walking down to the dungeons. Yee! The thing is, I kind of think she was too nice. Is that weird to say?
No, and I'll tell you why. Yes, she had a lot of crap happen to her, but that didn't affect her and turn her into this horrible, torturous murderer. You know, she wanted justice, and I think that's what she got, was justice.
I love that he still doesn't think that he's going to die.
He does! He has this look on his face where he's totally smug. He's like, oh, I guess our time's coming to an end. It's like, yeah, it is! You...
Well, he's still, even to the end, even when the dog is in front of him, and he's just like, stand down, boy, stand down. And she's like, your dogs haven't eaten for days, you know what I mean? You starved your dogs.
Loyal to a fold. Not if they're starving.
He doesn't understand. I kind of wish that some of that could have came back on his men. Like, the men were really trustworthy to him, even though I feel like they probably shouldn't have been so trustworthy to him. He's only gotten the power that he's had by killing other people. By seeing other people...
They were forced to fight. That's what they were saying.
Well, the crazy thing is, he thinks he's so invincible, but he only thinks he's so invincible because he's been the one on the other side. He's been the one killing, you know, his father, his stepmother, and her newborn baby the same way he dies. And that's why I think it's a little too nice of Sansa, is that she kills him pretty much the same way as that, when I feel like he deserves worse. You know what I mean?
At least
for all he's done.
Chop off his man parts. That, to me, would be at the least she could do. But she didn't, and I think that goes back to the fact that she's not a ruthless killer.
No.
And she didn't let these experiences, these bad ones, happen to her and affect her like that. You know?
Yeah, you're right.
So I think it was good. You know, he still suffered, in my opinion. The dog eats his, like, jaw in his lip, and I'm like, whoa, okay, I'm turning my head now. I don't think I can watch this.
What did you think about it being a boxer?
Okay, that kind of upsets me. The dog that was sniffing his face and licking his blood and stuff, it totally looked like a boxer. Oh my gosh, people, boxers already have a bad enough of a reputation. Why would you do that, HBO? Boxers have done nothing to you. Why couldn't it have been like a Cocker Spaniel?
Why couldn't it have been a Cocker Spaniel? Because that is not intimidating at all. A Cocker Spaniel's wavy, you know, like Lady in the Tramp lady coming over and her biting his jaw is not even...
My point is, why do they have to use a boxer? You know, they're already got a bad rap. No more.
Boxers and pit bulls.
Not cool, HBO.
You know, it's tough. I mean... You can't be intimidated with a Cocker Spaniel.
I am. They terrify me. Are you kidding me? Your dog Zuki, he scares the crap out of me. Anyway.
But anyway, it's sad. I think they probably could have used a more fictitious looking dog, but they used kind of a more specific dog.
Whatever.
You know, I'm glad Ramsey got his comeuppance,
and of course we end the episode with a little smile on Sansa's face as she walks away. What?
We end the episode with a little smile on Scott's face. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.
Thanks.
Bye.